Bring in right now Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. But, Senator, this is nothing new. It seems to me, if you look at Republican, I mean, when I was there, we actually balanced the budget 4 times. Democrats and Republicans alike balanced the budget 4 times. And I actually left Congress in 2001 saying, hey, we figured this out. We don't have to spend trillions of dollars in debt. And then George W. Bush and Republicans got in power, and the debt doubled. Barack Obama got to power, debt doubled. Donald Trump, though, raised the national debt to levels that nobody ever had before. $8 trillion added on in just 4 years. Breathtaking, reckless, and now Republicans are lecturing America and Democrats on fiscal responsibility. How maddening is that to you?
Yeah, and I think about Reverend Sharpton talking about the big picture here, because the big picture now is that it's a Democratic priority to pay America's bills, right? That's now become a partisan issue as to whether we default or not default on American debt. Today, you have an adult party and a children's party, right? You have a party that's interested in governing, that's interested in preserving the American economy, paying our bills, and you have a Republican Party that is basically just interested in using government to enrich their friends. Why did they rack up $8 trillion of debt? Why did the debt expand by 40% during Donald Trump's presidency? Because they used all their political capital during those 4 years essentially to do one thing: to give away massive tax breaks to billionaires, millionaires, and corporations. And the reason that they are so focused on these spending cuts to programs that help poor people in the middle class is because they have to pay to extend and preserve those tax breaks for billionaires and millionaires. And so there is a method to this madness, but it's all about the Republican priority to help their rich friends. And I really do worry about the long term here. I was not a fan of negotiating. I thought we should have told Republicans that it was their job to pay the bills and that we weren't going to negotiate over that question. The issue now is that do we, in perpetuity, every single time we have to raise the debt ceiling, have to sit down and negotiate very difficult, very damaging cuts so as to allow Republicans to continue these tax breaks for their friends? I think that's a really dangerous precedent. It's one of the reasons why I'm still thinking through my vote on this package.
So, Senator, if this bill does make it through the House tonight, it heads over to you. You say you're still thinking about it. There's been criticism in the Senate from the left and the right. Elizabeth Warren said something to the effect of, every time you turn over another rock in this bill, you find something slimy. Rand Paul says it's a disaster for the country. He's going to rewrite it and introduce his own legislation. So there's been so much focus on the House. What are the prospects for this getting through the Senate?
I don't think we have time to rewrite the bill. It may be that we end up taking a few amendment votes, but I think we need to take an up or down vote on this by the end of the week, and I imagine we will find a pathway to do that. Listen, we are trying to be the responsible party here, so while I want to ask a few more questions about the details in this bill, it is true that once Joe Biden made the decision to negotiate, he seems to have crafted a deal that rejects all of the big Republican asks, right? The massive long-term spending cuts, the repeal of the president's energy legislation, changes to the Medicaid program. None of that's in this agreement. So I applaud the president for doing a really good job of negotiations once he got in the room. For me, the worry is about the precedent that we're setting here. But I think the Senate can get this done by the end of the week.
Yes, Senator Murphy, the White House has said that, enshrined a lot of what the White House has gotten done the last couple of years, saying that won't be impacted by this. But I wanted to ask you, we assume this will get done. It's been brokered, at least to this point, in a somewhat bipartisan fashion, even if not everyone involved is happy about the process. What does that make you think about going forward here, this next year and a half, at least, of divided government in Washington? Do you think this is a step in the right direction where there could be more appetite and ability to broker some sort of bipartisan legislation, either big or small?
Well, let's see what happens to Kevin McCarthy after this vote tonight. If McCarthy survives this vote, then maybe his appetite grows to try to, get some additional legislation done. My fear is that he is going to use every bit of political capital that he has to simply pay America's bills, and then he's going to sort of crawl back into his shell, and we're not going to get anything else done for the American people. We've got a group of senators, bipartisan senators in the Senate that are working through a possible comprehensive immigration reform bill. That's absolutely something that we could get done. But my worry is after this, McCarthy is just going to preserve his own power, sort of sit on his hands, and that we're going to have a very unproductive rest of this Congress. I hope he proves me wrong.